Welcome back to Twin Football, the YouTube channel that covers the NFL and the Premier League. It is Wednesday, November 20th. Thank you for joining us, which means that we got NFL picks today, and we got Jacob again 2 weeks in a row now that we got Jacob. And it's a good thing that we do because we're going to dive straight into here with a great Thursday night matchup of the AFC North that sees Pittsburgh take on the Cleveland Browns. A AFC North matchup, but we know, just like last week when the Steelers took down the Ravens, that these games can get feisty, go against the grain a little bit. For example, Cleveland is 4-1-1 in their last 6 home games against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nick Chubb is averaging 6.4 yards per carry in the last game and a half. He got injured last year, tore his ACL against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you take the 1.5 games that he's played the last 2 years, and he's averaged 6.4 yards per carry. The Steelers, we know, are a team that likes to run the football. Their identity is to run the football. This year, every single game they've won, they have led in total rushing yards. 100% of their games have been dictated by total rushing yards. Last week against the Ravens, it was a 2 yard difference, so I'm going to call that a wash. But besides that, all the other games, if the Steelers rush for more yards, they win the football game. So the Browns' question here is, can they get Nick Chubb going, who only had 50 yards last week, to a point that they can outrush this Pittsburgh Steelers defense? And I honestly think that this is going to come down to the wire. I think they can do some damage against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and it's going to be field goal versus field goal versus field goal versus field goal. So I'm actually going to give the edge to the Pittsburgh Steelers here. I
Go
think
Chris
they
Boswell.
they get into the end zone as well. So give me the Steelers, but I think this will be a closer game than 93%. We'll see a great Thursday night matchup.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Next up, we got the Vikings taking on the Bears, another divisional matchup here. Vikings coming off that win against the Titans after the worst game of his season. Sam Darnold bounced back with a solid performance. 8-2, but the Vikings haven't looked as dominant as they did in the beginning of the season. Looks like they're starting to lose some momentum here, but they've got such a good record. They're only one game back from the Lions. They'll want to keep in striking distance. The Bears coming off devastating divisional loss against the Packers, snatching defeat out of the jaws of victory with that blocked field goal. Matt
Only
Eberflus
the Bears
plans
can.
Right. Matt Eberflus plans to send a video to the league claiming that there should have been a penalty on the last play, that they were on top of their long snapper. It's never a penalty. It's pretty laughable. Mikel Arteta impression there. Caleb Williams had a great game, 70 yards on the ground, 230 in the air, had no turnovers. He did what he needed to do to win the game. They just couldn't convert that field goal. It's tough. I don't have Caleb having two good games in a row against a decent defense. I think the Vikings defense is even better than the Packers defense. I do think, like I said, the Vikings are slowing down a bit, but I got Vikings in this one.
Who plays better, Sam Darnold or Caleb Williams?
That's a good question. I'm going Darnold, not Caleb.
Darnold staves off midnight and turning into a pumpkin one more week, and gets the win. Another week, another win for the Detroit Lions. It seems inevitable. A beautiful photo of Dan Campbell enjoying his nice morning coffee with his dog in the car with his wife on a Monday. Every week they get a win. Jared Goff can throw 5 picks, they get a win. They have 5 different receivers get a touchdown in a win. They can beat you in so many different ways. Against the Colts, they will beat them by rushing for over 200 yards. Give me Detroit.
Richardson looks pretty good. I don't know. No, that's Lions. Patriots taking on Dolphins in another divisional matchup. Patriots coming off the loss against the Rams. Drake May does look pretty solid. New England might have a decent quarterback here. We'll see what happens. Patriots are looking to play spoiler against a divisional rival that needs this win to keep their playoff hopes alive. The Dolphins are coming off an easy win against a bad Raiders team. It was their most points in any game this season, so you start to see the offense clicking finally. Tua starting to find his rhythm after that injury. He had 3 touchdowns. He did a good job spreading the ball around, completing a pass to 9 different receivers. Achane had also a solid game. The offense that was so exciting to watch last year might be finally clicking. The Dolphins will hate to have seen the Broncos look so dominant this past weekend against the Falcons as they try to chase them for that final wildcard spot. They have to win this game. It's funny, the Patriots are only 1 game separating them, but the outlooks of this season is completely different. Dolphins still have a glimmer of playoff aspirations, and the Patriots are thinking about who they're going to draft in the first round next year. I got Dolphins here.
Ooh. This nice divisional matchup that you mentioned between two teams looking at different perspectives, one looking to the playoffs, one looking to the draft, has me rethinking the AFC Thursday night game. Give me the Browns to get the win. Let's go, Brownies. Give me the Browns. Field goals,
Psych.
field goals. But Jameis Winston gets the win. Myles Garrett maybe throws a couple
Jameis.
helmets.
Nice.
Give me the Browns. That will move here to the next
Chris
game.
Boswell can't keep winning games by himself, so I like that. Yeah.
So give me the Browns there. Tommy Cutlett's getting the start. He's had a week bye week as the official starter here to prepare for the Tampa Bay Bucks coming to town. Baker Mayfield. Getting Mike Evans back for this game is huge. The last 2 weeks, the last 2 times we saw the Bucks, as they also are coming off of a bye, was an overtime loss to Kansas City and a field goal loss to San Francisco. This team can still score points. The tight end over the middle, Otten, has been fantastic. You add Mike Evans down the sideline as well, and this offense is just going to open up, especially when you add a run game against a run defense that hasn't been very good. Obviously, we know the Giants' pass rush can get at you. I think Baker Mayfield extends some plays here, hits some targets down the field, and gets enough points on the board against a struggling Giants offense with Tommy Cutlets. I know he can pass the ball, but how is he going to be scrambling? Give me Tampa Bay in that one.
Next up, we got yet another divisional matchup. The Cowboys taking on the Commanders. Cowboys coming off another loss against the Texans.
So their stadium is falling apart. The ceiling is coming down. The light comes through the windows and blinds their receivers. Their quarterback is hurt for the rest of the season. I mean, what is good? Is there anything good for the Cowboys? Anything
Jerry Jones is getting older, so you never know. Cowboys going off that loss against the Texans. The first half of the game, Cooper Rush honestly looked okay. He kept them in the game. It looked like it could be a game, but in the second half, once things started to go south, the team just fell apart. The morale in that locker room must be absolutely abysmal. Dak honestly couldn't have gotten injured at a worse time. This was a super tough 3-game stretch here. Now taking on a strong Commanders team who are coming off a mini bye week after losing against the Eagles on Thursday. They were winning for the first 3 quarters in that game, and then Saquon Barkley just took over the game in the fourth quarter and basically won it by himself. Jaden Daniels still looking good, but has simmered down a little bit. He's not having that CJ Stroud rookie season that we thought he might, but CJ Stroud had such a high bar. We'll talk about that later. He's lost his connection with McLaurin a little bit that we saw again in the beginning of the season. The Commanders fans will be anxious for that synergy to return. I think it does here against a bad Cowboys team, and Commanders take the win at home.
Yeah, Adams' anytime touchdown lock of the week is Brian Robinson to find the end zone here against the Dallas Cowboy defense in a win. I agree. Kansas City take on a Carolina Panthers team that are just in the worst spot on the schedule following a loss for the Chiefs. You don't want to be there. You hate to be there. The Chiefs are now only a 1-game lead over the Buffalo Bills in the AFC conference standings, who hold the tiebreaker against them. They're going to want to get back to winning ways, and I see nothing but a Chiefs win in that one.
And next up, we got an AFC South matchup here. The Titans coming off the loss against the Falcons that we talked about. I really think the Titans need to give Tony Pollard some more touches. I know they were playing from behind for pretty much the entire game, so I understand, but they really need to give their best player some more touches. Will Levis threw the ball 30 times. Luckily, he only had 1 interception with all those pass attempts, so that was the little
Highlight.
highlight there. Texans coming off a win against the Cowboys that broke their 2-game losing streak. Joe Mixon had a monster game with 3 touchdowns. CJ has got to be excited to have his favorite receiver back in Nico Collins. He had that first play 80-yard touchdown that got called back for illegal man downfield. If you watch that, though, I think you have to call that. Like, he got out there so early to block, and I really don't think he goes to the house if he's not blocking. But that is kind of a little tic-tac foul that you see get called sometimes, but I think the refs did a good job there. I wouldn't call CJ's last few games as a sophomore slump because he's still been good, but he set the bar so high in his first season that we were expecting him to try to emulate that. If it was any better, he would be favorite for the MVP. Go look at his numbers last year. They're absolutely insane for a rookie. I don't think in our lifetime we'll see a rookie season that good.
No.
He's starting to pick it up again. I got Texans to win.
Yeah, especially for a second overall pick, a team that finished so poorly the year before drafting CJ Stroud to have the numbers he did. Absolutely incredible. Denver taking on the Raiders in another divisional game. And Bo Nix with Sean Payton have just turned this corner. Obviously, he started off his career 0 touchdown and 4 picks. And ever since then, I think he's thrown less than 4 picks ever since then. So he
a little hasty of a nickname there.
Okay, yeah. It's just so easy.
It just falls right in your lap.
Yeah. And the Raiders, they don't even know what quarterback they're going to be. Minshew gets the start again in their quarterback carousel that they've been playing this year.
The third string quarterback carousel.
There you go. That should be a better name for it. That defense is playing so elite for the Broncos. Bo Nix, Sean Payton on the same page. I like the Broncos comfortably in Las Vegas.
Next up, we got the 49ers taking on the Packers in what I think will be the most exciting game of the weekend. Both teams really need this win.
Bowl coming up. Got the Harbaugh Bowl coming up.
That's a good point. It's a little Super Bowl rematch between the brothers. Yeah, but 49ers really need this win. They're coming off a tough loss against the Seahawks. They had 9 penalties in such an important divisional game at home. Super unexpected from a team coached by Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy had a pretty solid game. He made a lot of great plays with his feet, but he had a bad interception at a bad time. A lot of his interceptions have been off the deflection. He's really got to stop forcing the ball. He has way too many deflected passes. You're bound to just put yourself in your team in a bad spot if those get picked off. CMC looked all right, but he really struggled getting anything going on the ground without big George Kittle's blocking. Kittle's hamstring should be good to go for this one, so we'll look to see CMC getting his yards per carry a little bit higher than it was last week. Nick Bosa going off injured honestly changed the entire game. Seattle's offense was so much stronger with him off the field, and it looks like that oblique injury will keep him out of this one and maybe a little bit longer. You hate to see that. The Niners have dealt with so many injuries this year. First place and last place, though, in this NFC West is only separated by 1 game. It's the closest division in football. Cardinals 6-4, everyone else 5-5. So the Niners will still feel like they have a decent chance to win it. If not, they're still poised to sneak into the wild card, perhaps. The Packers are coming off a super close win against the Bears. Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs with another great game. They got destroyed in the time of possession, though. The defense was exhausted at the end of the game. Caleb Williams was able to just go down the field and put his team in a spot to win the game with a field goal. They got a little bailed out with that block, but they made the play they needed to make to win the game. So fair play to them. The Packers are 3rd place in the division, but they're still within striking distance, just 2 games back from the Lions. I don't really see the Lions dropping too many games, but the Packers will want to give themselves a chance as they play them in just a couple weeks. This game is so exciting. I'm going Packers here because the Niners are just dealing again with a little bit too many injuries. Trent Williams is a little knocked up. Christian McCaffrey still a little knocked up. Nick Bosa's out. They've got so many injuries, and Packers at home. I really want to pick the Niners, but I'm going Packers here.
Yeah, I'm a little upset by it. A couple weeks ago, the Chiefs get a blocked field goal to beat the Broncos, and everybody's saying the Chiefs just find ways to win the football game, right? the Green Bay Packers do the exact same thing, and everyone's just saying the Bears are terrible, the Bears are cursed, the Bears are the worst. No credit to Green Bay really at all this week for coming up with the clutch play. They even go into the locker room and saying they had the confidence they were going to block it because of watching in pregame the kicks by Santos, the Bears kicker. That is great scouting,
Good
great
for the Packers.
coaching. Good for the Packers. Thank you. We'll give you the credit here on Twin Football. Don't you worry. Here's the game you were referencing, that vaunted NFC West top of the division game. Arizona taking on Seattle. Arizona after a bye week. Before the bye week, we saw Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison keep improving that relationship. Kyler is playing better and better every week, despite Call of Duty 6 coming out a couple of weeks ago. Who would have seen that coming? And he has just been rolling. Obviously, Geno Smith hit the night celebration in San Francisco. He's going to be feeling good about himself, which just means he's going to throw 4 picks and Arizona's going to win. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. No, I think 50-50 is a good breakdown of this game. I think it will be close, but due to the fact that it's going to be freezing rain out there, 40 degrees, low 40s, high 30s degrees with rain in the forecast, I like the run game of Arizona, especially after a bye week, to enforce their will. Kyler Murray to scramble and get into the end zone, I think, as well. So give me the Cardinals to win up in Seattle.
Another exciting NFC game next. You got the Eagles taking on the Rams. The Eagles coming off a huge win against the Commanders to make them comfortable favorites for the division title. The defense did well to limit a good Commanders offense to just 18 points. Jalen Hurts had another solid game. The brotherly shove is looking unstoppable still. But the MVP was Saquon Barkley. He completely took over the game in the fourth quarter. Such a huge performance in that quarter to win such an important game. Saquon's just unplayable right now. Rams coming off a comfortable win against the Patriots. Matthew Stafford went all Phillip Rivers with 4 touchdown passes. Puka Nacua with his first touchdown of the season. That 1-2 combo with Kupp is so much fun to watch. The defense will have to improve if they want to win these big games against tougher opponents, and they're so banged up right now. After letting a bad Patriots team put up their second highest scoring game, it's hard to back them in this matchup against a tough Eagles team. I'm going Eagles here, but it's going to be a close one, and I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, fly, Eagles, fly on Sunday night, but the Harbaugh Bowl takes on Monday Night Football, the third time John Harbaugh has played Jim Harbaugh, and John is 2-0, including that magnificent win with that goal line stop in the Super Bowl about 11 years ago now, where the Ravens beat the San Francisco 49ers down in New Orleans. This game will take place in LA. So yes, it'll be a Baltimore Ravens home game. And I think both teams are going to want to run the football. And the Ravens have one of the best rushing defenses in the NFL. That's going to force Justin Herbert to throw the football. The Ravens, a tough loss against Pittsburgh, missed field goals, turnovers, fumbles, definitely plagued them in that one. The Chargers have been rolling of late, 4 consecutive wins. Their last loss against Arizona, where Arizona was able to run the football better than the Chargers were. So that is definitely going to be the recipe for success for the Ravens in this one. They're going to want to run the football. So how do you do that? Obviously, you're going to use Derrick Henry. He only got, I think, 20 snaps last week, if not less, against Pittsburgh. They kept finding themselves behind the chains and taking him out of the game entirely. He is 26th in the NFL in snap percentage. That is way too low. Way too low. He is a top 2 rusher in the NFL this season, and he is only on the field for just over 50% of the snaps. That can't happen. When
He's a big boy. He gets tired.
Yeah, but they're so predictable with it as well. So even if that's true, yes, you get down the field, he gets tired. Well, now you're in field goal range, really. If he's getting tired, it's because you've sustained a drive enough to get into field goal range, which is fine. But they've been so predictable. He gets out of the field when they are behind the chains or they get a penalty and they want to either dip and dunk or pass over the middle. And it is making it so much harder to do any of those things. Against the Steelers, in the first 3 quarters of the game, if you take out drop passes that hit the hands of the wide receiver, I'm expecting those to be caught. So I'm going to take those out. In the first 3 quarters, there was only one incompletion on a play where the Derrick Henry was on the field and didn't get the ball. And there was only one play that went less than 5 or 6 yards. So when he's on the field and you're using him as a play action or to run out and block even, you are getting good matchups on other areas of the field. You're able to push the ball down the field, a couple 30-yard passes, some scrambles from Lamar Jackson, all because Derrick Henry is on the field. Again, only one incompletion in the first 3 quarters. That's it. Just keep him on the field. And now if you keep going down the route that you're going, where you're only putting him on the field to use him, then you are becoming, again, more predictable. So I'm hoping the Ravens can get back to using Derrick Henry more, but also using him as a decoy and just keeping him on the field. I think they're going to want to bounce back against the Chargers team, who is, I think, 7 wins out of 10 to start the season under Jim Harbaugh is way more than expected. So give me the Ravens to bounce back, but they will only do that if they use Derrick Henry more than 50% of the time. This is ridiculous, and it just can't stand. I can't have it.
I like that pick. And that Ravens defense is going to be so familiar with that 1-2 combo in Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. I think that gives them a huge advantage in this one, but it'll be so exciting to see that Harbaugh Bowl and John just smirk at Jim when he beats him yet another time.
Yes, then to prove to 8-4. There you have it. All 13 of our picks from us at Twin Football. Remember, we do all of our picks on ESPN, so go ahead and make your account if you haven't done so yet. Join our Twin Football group on ESPN so you can see how many points you get, how many correct picks you get each week compared to us. We fell behind the top 100,000, so we're going to look to go 13 for 13 this week and pick up our ranking as we try for that number 1 ranking on ESPN. But that will do it for us at Twin Football. Thank you very much for joining. Stay tuned because we got our EPL picks and predictions this week as the international break ends. That's it from us. Enjoy the football.